In this video, I'm going to give you the lowdown on running an online dog training business. I've seen a number of other gurus and marketing agencies talking about doing it, but the reality is none of them actually ever have. And so what they're selling you is a dream that they're not actually going to help you achieve. And I can prove it because I know from first-hand experience. The truth is, I tried to launch an online dog training business 4 times with no success before I actually worked out how to do it. And then it generated me hundreds of thousands of pounds in revenue every single year without me lifting a finger. So I'm going to share with you a few key things you need to understand and a few things you need to implement in order to do it successfully so it actually works and doesn't become a huge headache for you. But before we start, with full transparency, you're not going to like everything that I share with you. Because before we start, you need to understand that if you're trying to launch an online dog training business so you don't have to deal with customers anymore, you're barking up the wrong street. When you start selling online dog training, you're going to get many more customers than you actually get in person, and they're going to be more needy than you could ever imagine. The good news is there's a way to mitigate all that and transform the lives of hundreds of thousands of dogs without having the client stress. But before you can do it, you need to do these things to make it work. The first thing that you need to do in order to get an online dog training platform that actually works is to get it right in person. Now, you might be thinking, Matt, I can already train people face to face. But what you need to understand is that every time when you're training in person that you have to take the dog off the owner or you have to interject and give them some more guidance is a time that your online training platform will fail. And the easiest way that I've found to get it right all of the time in person so you can transfer it onto online is to train your clients in person without ever putting your hand on the dog. By training in a hands-off manner, you're effectively replicating what it's going to be like when you're online. And not only will this help you launch a successful online dog training platform, it will also dramatically improve the results that you get for your clients, because if it's them that's making the changes in their dog rather than you having to take it off them, then when they're at home away from you, they also know how to create that very same change. The next thing that you need to do in order for your online training platform to work is to simplify your training. Almost entirely the reason that dog training fails when people go home is because they came and spent 60 minutes with you, let's say, and then they went home and they remember the last 10 minutes. But the bit they need to remember was the first 10 minutes where they started actually making the change in the dog. And that's one of the huge benefits of online training, because you can give them short snippets of lessons and then get them to go and practice them without having to bombard them with long amounts of training. But in order to work, you have to simplify the training process so that they can follow it. The easiest way to do that is to break down your training into simple steps. And we actually do this ourselves as dog trainers all the time, but you need to get it written down so you're really clear on what those steps are. If you're a good dog trainer, when you're training a dog, there are certain things that you look for before you move the dog onto the next step, and there are certain things that you're looking for, which means you go backwards a step. And you need to work out exactly what they are in order to simplify your training down to simple steps. Once you know what those steps are, you're well on the way to creating an online dog training platform that will work. And then the final thing that I'm going to teach you right now, because you've got enough to be thinking about already, is to add check steps into that training process. What that means is that they do a few steps on their own, and then you have a check step where you check in with them and make sure their dog is performing at the right level of efficiency for them to move on to the further stages of training. It's human nature for dog owners to want to jump straight from step 1 to step number 6. And what you need to do is ensure that they can't do that, because if they do it, their training isn't going to work. The typical places that you might put in a check step are where you're moving the person from going from positive reinforcement only and you're about to start adding some corrections. You need to make sure that the dog and the owner understand things correctly before you start using that negative reinforcement. And the only way to do it online is to get them to do what I would call an assignment, where they have to send you in a video showing proficiency. If that assignment's good, you move them on to the next stages. If it's not good enough, you have a library of tweak videos that you can send them to get them over the line and into those next stages of training. I hope that you found this video useful. I obviously haven't covered the whole process because it would take too long. But if you're planning on launching an online dog training platform, I hope you've really found it useful. Maybe drop me some questions down in the comments below. And don't forget to give the video a like before you leave so you see the next one.